Jeb, wake up. Yeah, looks like we are back here in KSP, and gosh, does it ever look ugly. Hang on a second. Okay, I think that is a little bit better. So, yeah, we have obviously installed some graphics mods. Installed Parallax Unlimited, we have the volumetric clouds, we have Shaddy, deferred rendering, we have distant object enhancement. Yeah, a lot of really good looking mods here. These are mostly all visual mods. So this is going to be a couple of missions in basically just KSP without any life support. You know, we're not going to use Kerbalism. We're not going to make things any harder than we have to. We're just going to kind of have some fun, go do some sightseeing. We do have a couple of missions lined up. The first thing we're going to do is do some Apollo-style missions. That's going to include a typical Apollo-style landing. We're going to drop down near the NAM, the Neil Armstrong Memorial, and we'll also do a couple of the Apollo Application Programs missions. Once we've done that, we are going to head out to Val. Yep, we are going to do a pretty major Val mission. We've got a pretty big mission planned. We're going to do it as an all-up mission, one launch, going to bring everything out there. And it's going to be a real deep explore of Val. We're looking forward to it. But first, we're going to have to build some rockets, I think. Well, since we made that first part of the introduction to this video, we learned of the passing of Captain James Arthur Lovell, Jim Lovell, of course, the commander of Apollo 13, commander of Apollo 8, a couple of Gemini missions. I do love his Gemini mission, his final one, where he and Buzz showed off a little bit using a sextant to bring themselves alongside the Aegina target vehicle. And this also became, extremely relevant later on in Apollo 13 when he had to do the same maneuver again to reset his computer after they had to turn the thing off when the thing almost exploded. So we're going to do a little bit of a tribute to Jim Lovell here. You can see, obviously, we have what appears to be a Saturn V. This is KSP's stock craft Saturn V vehicle. It is used for the Apollo 13 mission. And I must admit that after quite a few hours in KSP, I don't think I'll admit to exactly how many, I still actually haven't done the Apollo 13 mission, so we're going to do that. We're going to start off actually with an Apollo 8. We're going to fly out to the moon, do a couple of laps with one hand around the wheel, and then we're going to come back and we're going to try the Apollo 13 scenario that's built along into KSP. Of course, before we get underway, we do have to bring along our crew. Here we have Jim Kerman. Looks like he's raring to go. Let's get aboard your Saturn V there, Jim. We have a long ways to go out to the moon. We're going to get some good photos out there as well, hopefully. We'll see you out there. All right, here we are. We have a look at the stock version of an Apollo spacecraft. Now, this one does not have a lunar module on board because we are not landing on the moon. The lunar module that was intended for this flight was not ready, so they decided to just take off without it, and we're going to do the exact same thing. Give it a bit of throttle. Oh, wait, those engines are going out. There we go. We are off the pad. Cleared the tower. All the way, we got Frank, William, and Jim on board, heading out to the moon. Go. We are through clouds. All right, we are supersonic at 11,000 kilometers and climbing. We're aiming for around a 110 kilometer orbit here. All right, we have S1C shutdown. And we are coasting up to 120 kilometers here. Let's set up our orbital insertion burn. All right, we see the S1C floating away there, and I realized as I stage this that this is not a 3-stage set of 5. This appears to just be a 5-engine first stage and then a single-engine second stage. So I think they skipped that S2 stage completely. That's interesting. Let's go ahead and jettison the escape tower. It was a nice dance. Prepare for that orbital insertion burn. I think I might have needed a little more of that S1C stage than I thought. Well, there's a fair bit of Delta V left over in the Apollo command module that they should be able to use the SPS on that one to complete any orbital insertion burns we need. Let's see. Go! Again, I probably should have tested this craft before launching, but you know, I think we'll just wait. Let's set up that TLI. 0.3 inclination. That's not too shabby. I can go with that. All right, we want to do a free return to trajectory just to make things nice and official. I believe that method to do that is to push it out to around 18 kilometers, or 18 million kilometers, I should say. 17, let's see what this does. Yeah, we're wrapping around pretty good there. There we go, coming around nicely. Looks like a pretty interesting free return trajectory. Gives us a 91 kilometer orbit at the moon. Well, it's free return. I think I'm going to count it, or not. All right, let's scoot around to our burn point. All right, we need to hit that igniter, burn that engine here. I think even though it says our delta V is too low, I think it's wrong and we're going to be just fine. Let's drop that shroud. Hey, no lunar module. That's weird. Lots of room for an LM there. Maybe we should have just brought a party instead. This 4B shutdown. That was interesting. Confetti. I like it. There we go. Power on the Apollo. Kind of forgot to do that. Alright, that's good enough. Let's have a look and see our orbital insertion to the moon. 115 kilometers. Let's take a little bit out of that. Down to... I'd like to get it down to around 30. Maybe a little bit low there. Okay, so if we're going to do an actual free return trajectory, we're wind up impacting the moon. I don't think we want to hit the moon, so let's... There we go. How about a nice 17-kilometer orbit around the moon? I think that'll get us there. And of course they call it a free return trajectory because if we made no other changes to our current trajectory, we would go all the way out here fly past the moon. It would grab us, slingshot us, and turn us all the way back in here. And at this point, we would actually impact the planet here, which probably wouldn't be the best choice. However, if we got out here and we had to make an adjustment, we could tweak things and make a nice, easy recovery here without ever lighting the main engine again. All right, looks like we've got our orbital burn here plotted, and we are approaching the moon. Let's go ahead and get ourselves in a good position for that burn. Apollo 8 was just going to be an Earth orbital mission testing the LM, but with no LM ready, they decided, you know what, let's go ahead and just head out to the moon. It was a very bold move, because this is the first time that any humans or Kerbals ever left the gravitational influence of their home planet. And that's kind of a big deal, because if you can get yourself into orbit, you're pretty much halfway to anywhere, as Heinlein says. And if you can push yourself away from the gravitational field, well, you're pretty much opening up the universe for your exploration. Pretty bold move. Not sure why our batteries are low here. We should have all kinds of torque. Electric charge is good. Do we actually have torque? I do not believe we do. So maybe the reaction wheels are turned off. Wheel authority? No, wheel authority's on. There's something about this craft that apparently has disabled reaction wheels. So you are relying exclusively on RCS. Well, we don't need the RCS in the capsule. That one off. I don't even think capsule RCS was a thing when this craft was designed for KSP as a stock craft. Alright, let's do that burn. Alright, we were coming into radio blackout. And there we are. Crew is in radio blackout on the far side of the moon. I think this would have been a pretty interesting experience, being the first folks to pass on the far side of the moon. This would have made them the most isolated humans in history. And I think they would have been pretty freaky. At the time, of course, their SPS was not an unknown quantity. They'd used that engine enough times to know that it was reliable and good to go. However, there still was a little bit of concern that, sure, if you get yourself into a lunar orbit, what happens if you can't light that engine again to get home again? Alright, we are in a nice circular orbit around the Mun. Engine's nicely glowing hot. Let's get out and have a look. Oh, look at that little caution sticker on the side of the command module here. I guess this is a service module. And look at this panel. I wonder if that is there with the intent that in the Apollo 13 mission, this is the part that is going to be just damaged. Well, I'm excited to try the Apollo 13 mission. I'm not sure if that warning sign there has anything to do with it, but it sure looks foreboding. Hey, William, how you doing? Oh, there's Jim, so I guess we're in Frank? I guess we were in Frank.
I hope that all of you back on Earth can see what we mean when we say it's a rather foreboding horizon, a rather dark and unappetizing looking place. We're now going over, approaching one of our future landing sites, selected in this smooth region to call the Sea of Tranquility. Smooth in order to make it easy for the initial landing attempt, in order to preclude having to dodge mountains. Now you can see the long shadows of the lunar sunrise. without form, and void, and darkness was upon the face of the deep. And the Spirit of God moved upon the face of the waters. And God said, "Let there be light." And there was light. And God saw the light, that it was good, and divided the light from the darkness. And God called the light day, and the darkness he called night, and the evening and the morning were the first day. And God said, "Let there be a firmament in the midst of the waters, and let it divide the waters from the waters." And God made the firmament, and divided the waters which were under the firmament from the waters which were above the firmament. And it was so. And God called the firmament heaven, and the evening and the morning were the second day. And God said, "Let the waters under the heaven be gathered together into one place, and let the dry land appear." And it was so. And God called the dry land earth, and the gathering together of the waters called he seas. And God saw that it was good. And from the crew of Apollo 8, we close with good night, good luck, a Merry Christmas, and God bless all of you on the good earth.
Thanks, crew. That was Jim there in the middle, doing the center part of that rendition. Probably the most religious you'll see on this channel. Well, I think we've proven that we can get around the moon here. Let's go ahead and set up our return. All right, we have that return burn all planned out here. And of course, since this is a retrograde orbit, as we got here on the free return trajectory, the burn will have to happen while they are on the far side of the moon. That would have meant some pretty tense moments back on Earth, waiting to see if the engine lit. Of course, the crew would have known instantly, but the folks on the ground would have to wait all of this time before the radio signals caught up to them and they got the good news. Well, let's go ahead and get that burn underway. All right, we have a return burn complete. We have a good altitude for our return with Earth. We pretty much have to just coast our way in.
Houston, Apollo 8, over. Hello, Apollo 8. Loud clear. Roger. Please be informed there is a Santa Claus. You're the best one to know.
All right, and there you have Jim confirming that the engines have lit, and that's what his idea with Santa Claus was, is that we're coming home. He didn't actually see Santa Claus on the moon, as some folks would have you believe. All right, well, let's get ourselves back home again. All right, that curbin's getting pretty big in the window there, as they say. What is the next stage here? I think it's going to try to jettison the shroud on the service module here. Well, I don't want to do that. So let's put this up with the parachutes. That's coming a little bit closer. And we may need the RCS on our command module here. All right, service module away. Get ourselves aligned for a re-entry corridor. That reaction wheel off is really making this a difficult turn. Kind of regretting not coming at this in the correct angle when I was a few million kilometers out. Oh well, we're still 181 kilometers up. I think we're going to be okay. Bringing that blunt end down. All right. There we go. 164 kilometers up still. 96 kilometers up. Still drifting away. Yeah, drifting away from center. Come back, come back, come back. Oh boy, we're about for entry interface here. Oh boy, here we go. We're hitting that. We're gonna hit the atmosphere just about 70 degrees off here. Yikes. There we go. 3 kilometers a second shoot through the atmosphere. Well, we don't need RCS at this point. Let's just hope that aerodynamics and inertia win over here. Ooh, getting a little bobbly. Let's go inside. Whoa. Yikes. A little wobbly, but I think we're going to be okay. Well, they seem pretty cool with it. That explosion might have been our command module going up. Ooh, starting to hear the stresses on the walls here. Okay, we are through the atmosphere. Let's check out these chutes. Looks like it's going to be a water landing too. What a bonus. Rogues deployed. Ooh. Aerodynamic effect engaged. Is this a water landing? Oh, definitely not. We are landing 3 kilometers up. Interesting. In a storm. Like those drogues are out. Drop the mains. Only 2 mains. Interesting. I probably could cut those drogues, but since we're coming down on the land and fairly high up, I think I'm going to keep them. Ooh, a good 3 kilometers up. That's going to be interesting. Not very Apollo 80, but I do like the storm. Down on something slightly flat. That's pretty lucky. Coming down in some fog, but I think it's going to be flat. All right, they made it down safe and sound. Landing at an altitude of 3,104 meters. That is pretty wild. Well, hey, congratulations, Frank, William, and Jim. Let's get you guys home. Okay, there we are. You can see I did load it just to make sure that it did load, but I didn't play it at all. Year 1, day 1, 0 hours, 0 minutes. So this is the first time that I am ever playing this mission. You know, we've at least flown the rocket a little bit. I think I have an idea how it works, but what do we have here? Summary. Greetings, crew. Hate to use the term routine when talking about spaceflight, but this should be pretty straightforward and a routine mission. Your goal is to reach the moon, land, plant a flag, pick up a surface sample, and return safely to Kerbin. First, though, Reach a 100-kilometer circular orbit over Kerbin. Oh, and ignore the warnings about bad luck in number 13. That's just superstitious nonsense, like the rumors of giant spiders on Duna. Wait a minute, there are spiders on Duna, aren't there? Okay, let's restart and go. All right, well, let's get underway. And already looks a little bit different. For some reason, these launch clamps here don't go down to the ground. That's weird. Staging is a bit different than the one that I saved, but I think it should be okay. Here we go. Really want to keep that first stage S1C running throughout the entire first burn here without shutting it down. But it is meaning we're coming in a little shallow, but I think it's going to be okay. We're up to a 45, 50-kilometer periapsis. Apoapsis, I should say, 55, 60. Let's keep going. 90. Whoa, 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 whoa. Way overshot there, way overshot. Luckily, drag's going to help us a bit here. Down to 114, 113. Let drag slow us down a bit here. Would have been nice to run those engines all the way up, but that's okay. We can relight them, unlike the real Saturn V engines. Well, I guess the Saturn V engines did relight because they did test them on the stand in order to tune the baffles. But I think it was a pretty big job to restart those things. 110.8 meters, and I don't think we can get much closer than that, actually. I assume that's our target orbit. Didn't even look at that. Wait, did it say 100 or 110? I think he said 100, didn't he? Ooh, I wonder what our margin of error is here. I don't know why I thought it was 110. Enable the RCS. Let's get rid of that tower. Oh, wow. That tower thing isn't even active. Okay, well, let's see if we can get rid of it here. This means that it did not load my saved craft because it doesn't even have the right tower here, but let's get rid of that one. Okay. And you're ready for that orbital insertion burn here. Going to take only 200 meters per second, and we have over 1,000 meters per second delta V left on this stage. I assume we're supposed to use the initial stage to push us out to the moon. Well, let's get us into orbit anyways and see what Gene Kerman has to say. Well, we are way over 100-kilometer orbit. Ha! Look at that. All right, good enough. Okay, team, point this ship at the moon and prepare to land. It may be routine, but hopefully not too boring, eh? Is this guy Canadian or something? Oh, there we go. We are moonward bound. Whoa! What was that? Acapello 13, do you read? We detected a massive explosion on your vessel. What is your status? Repeat, what is your status? I don't know what blew up. Okay, bad news. That explosion was actually one of your engines. Oh, that's interesting. We're assessing the situation now, but it seems that you should be able to complete your mission. You can choose to return to Kerbin. If you do, no one will think any less of you for scrubbing the mission. But if you're feeling particularly brave, you should have enough fuel to continue to do the moon and attempt a landing. You will need to dock the pod to your lander. Yeah. We cannot guarantee your safety, so please be careful if you choose to face danger like a true Kerbal. Okay, I guess I'm not sure what blew up there. One of the engines. Not this one. None of these four. I guess we'll find out which engine went out. I'm not sure which one it was. Maybe the status tells us. No. Alright, well, let's get that moon insertion burn underway anyways. Since it's threatening that we may be low on fuel, let's not go for the free return trajectory on this attempt. Let's just go for a straight Hammond burn. Should take around 840 meters per second. That's our altitude looking like. We want to come in fairly low, as you do have to come in fairly low to land. Only 8 kilometers should do it. So we have 828 meter per second burn, 935 left on this stage. We got a ton of fuel left. I'm not sure which engine went out. Was it this one? I don't know. Well, let's not drop any stages unnecessarily quite yet. All right. Well, I don't know how it looks to you, but it looks very strange seeing a fully intact Saturn V up this high. Right. We have our burn in 52 seconds. There we go. There's the moon. What a coincidence. I missed that button there, but I think we can probably adjust that. Yeah, kind of missed the engine shutdown button there. Well, we nearly burned all that fuel, but let's see what happens when we drop this. We're not going to make any changes to the staging. Do whatever the scenario wants us to do. Not sure what that was. Let's gain some distance here from whatever we dropped. That's the engine that went out. The S4 engine. Okay, so we're basically fine. The S4 engine would only have been the one that pushed us out to the moon. Okay, that sounds fair. What's this one here? One of these has got to be for the fairing. There we go. Well, look at all the material between us and the little docking port down here. How in the world are we going to get around all this junk in the middle? Alright, well, we need that lander. Oh my goodness. Confetti again. Oh, we're going the wrong direction there. There we go. Well, let's hope we can nudge some of that junk out of the way there. It's an unusual choice to use the stack separator instead of a decoupler. Is that what's here too as well? No, this is a decoupler. I'm not sure if that docking ring is going to get in the way here. There's lots of debris. My first look at the lander, it's not a bad little lander. I kind of like the use of the radar dishes there. Or the antennas. Whoa, 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 whoa! There you go. Alright, is there a... Can I just trust it's going to work? Alright, it actually did. Stage the correct piece. We are pulling the LEM away. So, I think as long as our TLI is okay. Oh, you know what? We overshot. That's right, too. Let's set up some sort of correction burn way out here. Slow it back down. So what's that costing us? 126 meters per second. That's not too terrible, I guess. Make sure we're controlling from here. Okay. And let's get out to that course correction. I assume nothing else is going to happen.
Payne, we've got one more item for you when you get a chance. We'd like it to stir up your cryo tanks. In addition, I have shaft and trunnion.
Okay.
For a look at the Comet Bennett if you need it.
Stand by. Okay, we've had a problem here.
Can say again, please.
Houston, we've had a problem. Main B bus undervolt.
Roger, main B undervolt. Stand by 13, we're looking at it.
Okay, right now, Houston, the voltage is looking good. We had a pretty large bang associated with the caution and warning there. And as I recall, main B was the one that had a amp.
That should get us in a pretty good altitude for a landing. Oh, not quite. Let's boost it a little bit further. Say 30 kilometers. Done deal. Okay, you made it. You've reached the moon. Decision time. You can still head back to Kerbin and land or attempt to set down on the moon. To minimize risk, take only one Kerbal in the lander. My vote goes for Jib. It's a weird thing to say. Why only take one Kerbal down? When this was written, I don't believe that Kerbals actually had mass. That was a fairly recent addition to the game. Oh well, we do have lots of science on here though, that's cool. Mystery goo, thermometer, ravioli. Oh, what do we have here? A surface scanning module. That should be fun. Okay. Well, let's do the orbital insertion burn and get some crew over to the lander and see how much Delta V is left on that thing. It's got to have a fair bit of Delta V, as I do see some fuel tanks, and the LEM can here has its own fuel as well. We've got that persistent rotation mod working, looks like. Okay, you guys need to come around here. I wonder if these fuel cells are even on. No, they're not. You know, we probably need them. Let's go ahead and fire these on right now before we get orbital insertion burn. 20 seconds. Lots of Delta V left. Okay, we are in a pretty decent orbit here around the moon. We got 28 by 33. Not quite around, but it'll do. Though he says only take one down. I'm not going to do anything that's going to jeopardize the mission. So if the instructions say take down one, we will take down one. Jib it is. Jib transfers over. Actually, I didn't even check. Does the free IVA work? Oh, looks like it does. And does it work with the little tiny docking port? Oh, it does. Oh, there's only one. Weird. There's only one connector, though. How odd. Well, nice to know they fit through the tiny docking port. I wasn't sure of that. Alright, well, if we're only taking down one crew, I'm sitting in the driver's seat. Yeah, since there were fuel cells on the lander that weren't started, I assume there were fuel cells on here that aren't running also. Battery, fuel cell. Start fuel cell. I bet you I don't need more than one of them. Okay, we got the fuel cell going. Where are we? On the moon? Oh, where are we coming down? Somewhere easy. Let's go right down the middle of the giant crater here. I'm not sure what the thrust to weight ratio on this lander is going to be like. I don't know if they've tweaked it at all. It says that it's full, so it should have lots of thrust to weight ratio to handle this. Alright, looking good. Any reaction wheels? Nope. That's no problem. We don't need reaction wheels. Alright, see you guys. We are going to try to land this thing. That should do it. We are coming in. Still cooking half a kilometer a second here. Gonna have to slow down, I think. Yeah, you know, that delta V on this one is good enough to land, but it's not a lot. Didn't actually take a look what it was before we lit the engine, but yeah, it's not a lot of extra. We'll be fine. Let's try to find something a little bit flatter. We do have the getter on with terrain textures enabled. There we go. Right, I think that was a pretty good landing. Great work, team. I can't believe you managed to pull this mission off. Now, EVA, take a soil sample and celebrate pulling victory from the jaws of defeat. I'm having a hard time reading it because it's very small print. All right, let's extend that ladder. What do we got here? Run the analysis. Resource analysis performed for Moon East Crater. All right. Get some more. Log pressure, probably low pressure. The pressure gauge is sitting there motionless. Perhaps you should tap it a few times to be sure. Okay, we will do that. Can we transmit? Yes, we can. We will log seismic data. The sensor has detected a minor quake on the surface. Fantastic. Transmit data. Log temperature. Collected and recorded the temperature data from the environment. Fairly boring. Nothing else to say? Nope. Alright, transmit data. Observe mystery goo. Mystery goo? The goo seems to be less dense here. Alright, let's go have a look around. Nice landing. Wait, you gotta plant your flag first, don't you? Plant a flag. Take a surface sample. The sample contains a combination of breccia and melted materials. Did I say that right? That's a weird thing to say anyways. Berkeley? I don't know. Keep it. And there you go. That looks like a good shot. Probably should have brought 2 crew down, but oh well. I think that's all we had to do. We got that surface sample. We'll store all the experiments up there. We got the lunar excursion surface sample. Okay, we are all good to go. Let us get back in board. Now, I don't think this is a 2-stage lander. Didn't take that close a look at it, but I don't think it is. Hard to get aboard here. Ricky, you know what? We're just going to jump. Oh no, we've broken our lander. Uh-oh. Is that going to give us a failure on the mission? Get up, Jib. You broke your lander. Careful. Eek, you ducking it over. I don't want to grab it. I want to get on board. Me aboard. There we go. We are on. Let's see what it's going to take us to get back into rendezvous position here. That's not too far, actually. That's just made... Whoa, 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 whoa. A little too far. Oh, boy. That just made it a lot harder. Time acceleration gone wild. Overshoot it a bit. Make sure we have lots of room. Oh, wow. It's dark now. Sorry, Jeb. Why is it dark? we in an eclipse or something? Why is it dark here? Oh, we are in an eclipse. Well, there goes our command module. Very odd. Moon should be showing eclipsed here. No idea what we're looking at, but let's just hope for the best. Try to bring that angle down a little bit if we can. 2.7 degrees, probably best we're going to get. 15 kilometers. And what was it, 30? Yeah, so we're doing pretty good there. Yeah, things look a little bit different here. It's not quite working normally as it would. Whoa, what was that? Uh-oh. Come in, Acapello 13. We just detected a sudden, unplanned, totally random, definitely not scripted in your lander. What does it say? It's not scripted issue in your lander. It's totally useless. And you need to act fast if you need to go back home. Oh boy. You've gained some altitude and there's some crazy and dangerous... Wow, this is hard to read. You've gained some altitude and there's something crazy and dangerous you could try doing to get over closer to the Acapello orbiter. Okay, what about this? You just need to EVA and use your suit's RCS thrusters to reach lunar orbit and then try to complete the rendezvous with the orbiter. That's why he only wanted one crew. That's hilarious. Okay, if you want to make it home alive, you'll need to time this maneuver perfectly. Are you ready? Go ahead. Good luck. Oh boy. That is going to be tricky. I'm not so sure this is even doable. Well, here's what we're going to do. I guess we got to bail. EVA. RCS. Uh-oh. Space. RCS. Still in a bit of a... What do you call it? Shadow here. Okay. Get away from the LAM. The light's on. Bye, LAM, wherever you are. Probably should have taken the science with you, but we just need to get out of here. So we need a lot of speed. That is going to be tricky. I think I have enough RCS to get into orbit from our current altitude and delta phi, but I don't know. Let's just press on. We're still climbing, so let's just go forward here. Looking up here, we're still climbing, so let's try and keep our trajectory pretty much straight. Wow, really should have tried harder to get that down to a 0 degree inclination. Kind of forgot that there might be other things happening in this challenge. Oh well. What do we got here? 228 meters per second. That's not orbital, but it's close. We are at apoapsis. That's perfect. What are we looking at here? Oh, we got a ways to go. Okay. What's orbital speed? I think it's like 600 or something, isn't it? Oh boy. How's it looking? We're not there yet. RCS like. Oh, we're down to less than a third. Oh boy. We're not going to make orbit. Whoa. Are we going to make orbit? Yes. 6.7 kilometers. It's close. What do we got left here? Are we allowed to switch over to our other command module and make the rendezvous? 6 kilometers, not bad. Most places, I think, on the moon, 6 kilometers is safe. 6.7 kilometers. Alright, well, of course we can't do a maneuver node. Well, we're just gonna have to hope for the best, I think. Try to catch up a bit. Oh boy, we've got to be pretty close to the surface here. Yeah, you look pretty happy about it though. Whoa, 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 stop burning fuel! So, somewhere between here and here are optimal times to try and rendezvous. As far as efficiency for the inclination and O-berth on the periapsis, but we're catching up to it a little bit too quickly, so I think at this stage I'm just going to try to aim for it and hope for the best. Distance 38 kilometers. If we can get close enough within 2 kilometers, and we'll be able to control the other craft, then that should let us switch over. Well, let's see what we got here for fuel. 8.2. Whoa, 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 whoa. 7.9, 7.4. Get closer. 3.1, 2.8. 2.3. 0.5, 900 meters. We are 900 meters distance apart in 24 minutes. Let's see if we can't bring that down just a little. There, that's it. 0.2, 200 meters. We're going to be 200 meters apart, traveling 57 meters per second. Okay, 57 meters per second, delta V. That says 0.47 fuel left. That's less than 1%. It's going to be going very quickly. We're going to be going very quickly when we encounter our orbiter here. However, we are going to encounter it. Have a nice ride there, Jeb. Just try not to think about it. Okay, we are 2 minutes away. There she is. We're not going to turn the RCS thrusters on until we absolutely need them. Try to keep that distance down to maybe 1,800 meters, 1,500 meters before we start to slow down. 6.2, 6.1, 6.0. Holy cow, that's closing in fast. 5 kilometers. 4 kilometers. 3 kilometers. 2.5 kilometers. We're approaching sphere of influence distance here, so we should be seeing that lock in a second. There it goes. We now could technically switch over if we wanted to, but I think what we're going to do is try to stick with Jeb here and let his RCS try to slow us down to 40, 30, 20. We are 20 meters per second difference. I can actually run into it at that speed and we will have no injuries, I'm pretty sure. What's our distance here? 0.0 kilometers. We at our closest approach, so we are pretty much going to ram into it. 900, 500, 400. Slow down a little more. That was it. That was the last of our RCS. That's it, Jeb. We're going to have to come get you. Where are you? There you are. Uh-oh. Can't seem to click on him. Whoa, he's flying by real quick. Target, Jebediah. Yeah. Okay, target. Go! I don't want him to get too far away. Let's bring it down so we're closing in on him. Okay. We are closing in on Jeb. 3.8 meters per second. We will meet him again in about 2 minutes. I think we're going to get you, Jeb. I don't know why I can't see him there. Oh, there he is. I must have somehow turned that off. Oh, well. 300. We're coming in on you, Jeb. Of course, you have no RCS, so I'm going to have to try to get the door as close as possible to you. Where is the door? Right there in the dark. Of course. Let's try to get the door on the light side. Okay. Approach info for Jebediah Kerman. Yep. That's pretty cool. Whoa, 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 whoa. Sorry, Jeb. Sorry, Jeb. Tease. Yeah, what? Let's turn the camera on and lock onto the front here. Jibs looks a little more panicked than normal. Or is that happy? I can't quite tell. He's happy. This guy's mad. Okay. Grab something, Jeb. Oop. Hope I didn't bash him there. Gee, the docking port is ideal. Board. There you go. That's one for the history books. The hard part's done. Acapello 13, come on home. Does that say Acapello 13? I just can't read that tiny text. Wow. Well, we got him on board. 0 Delta V left on his jet backpack, but here he is. He's back on board again. We have all kinds of Delta V left over. We could probably head out to Duna from here, but let's just bring it home. I think we're even going to come down in the day, which would be nice. Even better if we come down on the water. Okay, let's bring him home. So far, so good. Okay, I'm not sure if Gene Kerman has anything else in store for us, but we are on the way home. Great landing, Acapello 13. Managed to pull that off and get back into orbit without any actual lander fuel. Very interesting. I did not expect that. I kind of hope that's the last of my challenges, actually. What do we got here? You're almost there. Nice job, Acapello. You were able to reach Kerbin's SOI with the little fuel you had left, and there should be enough to prepare your vessel for re-entry and landing. Hopefully. Yeah, I should hope so. I'm sure everything will be absolutely fine from now on. Land wherever you want. We don't want to add any unnecessary complications to the mission at this point. Now, was that sarcastic when he said that I'm sure everything will be absolutely fine from now on? Kind of feel like that's not the last thing that's going to happen. I kind of feel like there's something going on with parachutes going to happen, but we'll see. Whoa! Let's try that again. Whoa! What now? The bad news is, looks like your parachute's activation system failed and burned both your main parachutes. You can try to land in your drogue chutes to slow down, but the impact will be lethal. What? Use your personal parachutes to land safely on Kerbin? Read this again here. Bad news keeps piling up. Acapello 13, looks like your parachute activation systems failed and have burned both your main parachutes. You can try to use your drogues to slow down, but the impact will be lethal. So, you're going to have to jump. So I do have the drogue still. Okay. Well, let's see where we're coming down. That's interesting. So what, you have to get all 3 crew out and parachutes activated? That's interesting. Geez, things keep going from bad to worse for these guys. I'm not sure what else can go wrong. Well, it looks like we're coming down on land, but at least it's going to be fairly flat. Let's get the drogues out as soon as possible here. Deployed. Okay, here we go. Wow, only one of them survived. There's supposed to be 3 of them, I think. Wait a second, are these the radial mount? These aren't the drogue chutes. Oh, they are the drogue chutes. So there were 3, I think. If I remember the Apollo 8, I think there were 3. But we're definitely not going to land on 2 drogue chutes. That's not going to work. Let's wait till we get under 10 kilometers at least so they can breathe out there. What does this say? You are almost there. You are almost there. Huh. There, we're 5 kilometers. I think it's time to start trying to get out. There we go. That's our cue. Here goes 1. There goes 2. There goes 3. Well, good luck, everybody. We'll see you on the ground. Not sure where they are. They're here somewhere. Not sure we jumped out of a perfectly good spacecraft. Picking up some shadows. There goes 1 chute. There goes 2. There we go. So who do we have over here? I'm not sure. Can we close in on him? Something just blew up. Glad we weren't on board. It's still blowing up. Really glad we're not on board. I guess that was the command module blowing up. Hey, Bill! Try to stretch out our glide path here a little bit. Maybe I can catch up to him and land around the same spot. That'd be nice. Well, there's my shadow. Where's Bill's shadow? He's got to be up here somewhere. Said it's Jeb a target. Maybe we can catch Jeb. There he is. Ooh, gonna try and make it over the hill, I guess. Watch out for the cactus. Right, Jeb's down. Hey, Jeb. And Jeb is spun out. Oh no, he's just dancing. He's just dancing for joy. Right. Where is everybody here? I think we are home. Do we have to recover everybody? What now? Did we win? Land safely in Kerbin. Anywhere will do. Okay. Hi. Are you safe? I'm safe. There we are! Mission status success. Total score 13,000. Bronze award for completed the mission with required bronze score points. Silver, completed the mission with silver points. Gold. Well, what points did we get? I assume we got gold. Oh yeah, got some bonuses here, I see. Bonus score. Kerbin landed safely. Great fuel efficiency landing on the moon. Great fuel efficiency orbiting Kerbin. Wow. That was kind of fun. Don't play a lot of scenarios. That's probably only the second or third one I've ever played. I've not played the Acapello 13 before, so that was kind of a trip. Hope you all enjoyed it there, and this little tribute to Jim Lovell and all the Apollo astronauts who have shown us that nearly anything is possible. Thanks for watching, Internet. Have an awesome day.